We are going to be talking about comfort as a coffin, so that should go super, super well. And the idea that comfort is not something good that we're supposed to be seeking for, but something that actually destroys the very things you're going after. And so that's the premise of this entire night tonight, and that's what we're going to be going after. So our check-in question is going to be this: what's one thing you know you should do, but you have been holding out because it's uncomfortable? The reason I want to jump right in is because I really want to focus on comfort as a coffin, comfort as the acceptance of death. The time you will be truly comfortable is when it is all said and done, you're laying in a grave. Everything in between, is really going to be uncomfortable. Pretty much the womb and the grave, that's where comfort really is found optimally. And any desire in us that wants that fully wants to be dead or wants to be a baby again. And I think so many of us, we'd rather be a baby in comfort, remain in immaturity, or be dead to the world, which has to do with being numb, with being disconnected, with being disengaged, because we'd rather be comfortable than engage with the work that actually brings the transformation we're looking for. And the hard part about this is that comfort isn't safety, it's stagnation. And we have to begin to understand that it's not. We think that sometimes if we get the things that we want, we'll end up being comfortable. But no, we'll actually become stagnant and we'll stop growing. I mean, there's so many of us. I know me. I can just speak for me, for example. It's like those times when you're pressing in the hardest, the time when you're going after life the hardest, the marriage, you're going after your kids, you're going after God, you're going after the business, you're starting to think, you feel that fully alive, even though it's stressful, even though it's hard, you feel somehow engaged with the life that you were meant to live. And you're learning how to get into the life that you were fully meant to live. And when we sit back and we're like, oh, I've earned it, guess what ends up happening? Oh, I'm going to take a break. Guess what happens? Your whole life starts to fracture out because you were meant to stay in the fight the whole freaking time. Discomfort isn't punishment, it's preparation. And I want you to hear that. Discomfort isn't punishment. Most of us are going like, oh, God's against me. Oh, like, you know what? My wife is against me. Oh, my kids are against me. My boss is against me. Life is against me. No, discomfort, feeling that discomfort is not punishment. It is preparation. And you guys have heard me say this a ton, but I'm just going to say it again. We need preparation over planning. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't plan. It just means that we should be more prepared than we are planned. Because if we have the whole schedule filled out and we have everything we know we're going to do for the next 3 months, but our souls aren't prepared, our hearts aren't prepared, our bodies aren't prepared for that thing we don't see coming, then when we get blindsided, the entire schedule goes to crap, and then we don't know what to do, and we lose who we are. And that's what becomes so difficult, because a man should be prepared for any and all outcomes that come his way. He doesn't just make a plan. He gets prepared so that way when the plan goes to shit, he can still stand there in confidence and courage. When the world goes to shit, you guys have heard me say this, the real goal of masculinity is to be unmovable and unshakable in any circumstance. Regardless of where we find ourselves, regardless of how it plays out, the idea is I will not be moved. I am the pillar my family and community can cling to when things go awry, because I've done the work of preparation. I love this. David Goggins says this: the most important conversations you'll ever have are the ones you have with yourself. Stop being your biggest obstacle. And for those of you that have read The Obstacle is the Way, you'll know this, like a lot of this phrasing of the obstacle is the way. It's actually a phrase from Marcus Aurelius in his book Meditations. It's just his journaling that got turned into the book Meditations. He says that the obstacle is the way. We find that the very thing that's hindering us is the doorway to the thing we always wanted. You guys, the thing that sucks, I want you just to write this down, whatever it is in your life right now. What is the suckiest area of your life right now? What is the most difficult, suckiest thing right now? And it doesn't even have to be a 10, because you might be in a good place right now. And some of you shared that. Yeah, I'm actually in a pretty good place. That's okay. What's the suckiest thing in your world right now? And here's why I want you to write it down, because I want you to see it every day, because that very thing is the thing that's inviting you into the person you were meant to be. The thing that you're avoiding and the obstacle that is hard, which is why we started with that question, the thing that is hard and most difficult for us is the invitation into the man we were supposed to become. And this is my definition. It's almost like success is an ever expanding circle of discomfort that you're willing to engage with because you found something better. That's like my new definition of success in some form. Success is the ever expanding circle of discomfort that I'm willing to endure or engage with because I found something more valuable than my comfort. Like Shane, you shared, yeah, that's what you shared. You're like, I have a business, I have a thing. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to engage with it because I found something better. You know, that's even what you're sharing, James. Hey, listen, this is uncomfortable. I don't want to live this way. This isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life, but I have to engage with it because I've got my eyes set. I've got a vision for something better than what I'm currently experiencing. And the doorway isn't disconnection. The doorway isn't to disconnect from your life. It's to engage in the most painful parts of your life, because that is where the breakthrough is going, not only going to happen, but that's where the transformation is going to happen. That man that you want to become, that man you daydream about, is hidden behind those circumstances. Muscles only grow when they're broken down. Discipline only forms when you push past resistance. Wisdom only comes from facing hard truths. And the reality is, I'll always think of the movie 300, or at least think of the Spartans when I think of this concept. And I love that scene where they're first going out to war. They've decided, hey, we're going. We know we're going to die, but it's 300, we're going. And they end up meeting the Greeks along the way. You guys remember that scene where all of a sudden it's like, you know, they're all disappointed because they see 300 and they're like, dude, what the hell? There's only 300 of you guys. I thought we were coming to join an army. And they're like, hey, we're really disappointed. And I love it. King Leonidas says, what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm a potter. What do you do for a living? And they just live, I'm a blacksmith. And he goes, just lists off 4 of them. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And then he turns around and he says, Spartans, what is your profession? And they just yell, who? Who? And the concept of the fact that, like, we're not raising up men who are prepared enough to be warriors in any and all circumstances that they find themselves in, because we're so distracted with 1,000 other things, we don't know how to prepare ourselves to actually get the breakthrough and die for the sake of that breakthrough. Like, listen, man, this isn't about like, I'll do it for a week. This is I will do this for the rest of my life. Screw this shit. I'm not giving up. And one of the things I met a guy in an airport. You guys have heard, I think some of you have heard this story, because I'm totally a dick to hang out with and talk to. And so this dude, like, he's sparking up a conversation, and he's like talking about how he got divorced and he's remarried and all these things, you know, but it was the Lord and all these. I'm like, cool, you know, I mean, I don't argue with people about that stuff. Cool, whatever. But the dude goes, how long? He goes, you know, I did this and it didn't work. And I said, how long? And he said, oh, you know, it was like, I think he ended up saying it was a year. And I was like, cool, man, like a year. Wow, that's a long time. But he's like a total Christian, right? Like just telling me how much he loves Jesus and stuff. Cool. I was like, how long would God do it for you if you're his bride? How long? How long? And he's like, excuse me? And I was like, well, the point is, how long would he do it for you? How long is he going to watch you reject him? How long is he going to suffer for the sake of your love, for the sake of your transformations, for the sake of devotion? If you're unfaithful for the rest of his life, does all of a sudden Jesus go, oh, sweet, now I can be unfaithful? Like when you tell God, screw you, is he like, oh, thank God, I don't have to worry about that one anymore? Like, we have to become men who are unto death men. The goal is unto death. We are going to do this until the day we die. We're not going to like, okay, Jake, thank you so for a nice season with the fight. Was awesome. I really loved being around it. No, we are in this for the rest of our life. I'm not saying you have to be on Man Talk Mondays or be in the fight program or on the platform. I'm talking you're in this shit for the rest of your life. Even if you go through 20 more programs, you're in it. Like, you got to do it. Nobody's going to do it for you. And when somebody looks at you and goes, "What is your profession?" You're like, "Dying. That's my profession. My profession is I'm a professional dyer. I die better than anybody else I've ever met. I have been resurrected 30,000 times, and I'll be resurrected another 30,000 more before I go into the grave." Like, that's real. I mean, that's why that Benjamin Franklin quote was so powerful. Most men die at 25. We just don't put them in the grave until they're 75. Because the point is most men give up in their 20s. Most men give up in their 30s. They're already dead. They're just the walking dead, but they don't go into the ground until they're 75, 80 years old. For us, we are embracing death for the sake of what comes out the other side. That's what we do. That's what real men do. They're not afraid of it. And I love this quote. This was from Hebrews. It says, "No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it." That verse alone, that is like a fight core verse. Like, though no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. I mean, that's Hebrews 12. Like, that verse is what we're going after. Hey, listen, man. Now let's not talk about the thing you're avoiding. Let's talk about the things 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago that you couldn't avoid, and you're better for it. Write that one down. What is something that you couldn't avoid a handful of years ago or longer? You couldn't avoid, or you had to engage with it, and you know now that you're better for it because you can see the harvest it reaped. What is that in your life? And if it was true then, it's still true now. The circumstances are just different. The truth didn't change. The circumstances did. And when the circumstances changed, we thought that the truth changed, so we thought we could do it differently or give up. But that's not what we do here, guys. That's not what men do. And I know that most don't want to hear that because they want the high five and they want to feel good and whatever. And you guys know that, especially those that are on right now. Like, you guys know that that's just not what we're doing here. It hasn't worked, and it's not going to work. If you're comfortable, I can promise you this: anywhere in your life you are comfortable, you are not growing. Anywhere in your life where you have settled, you are now compromised. Because here's why: peace is different than comfort. Peace is way different than comfort. Peace and comfort are not the same thing. Peace is the emotional stability inside to know that I'm going to be okay, even if nothing's okay. That's peace. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, most of us want peace to be like, "Oh, I just need a little bit of peace. Whoo, nothing going on." No. Jesus had peace in the middle of the storm, and his peace extended outside of his body and calmed the sea. Why? You could have a peace so powerful as a man. You guys, maybe you've experienced this. I know I have. When I walk into a room or I meet a man who carries that kind of peace, it changes the environment, correct? You know what I'm talking about. When you have that kind of peace, shit can be going wild. But in one moment, a man walks into the room who carries that kind of peace, and the environment changes. That's the difference between peace and comfort. Peace is not circumstantial. Comfort is circumstantial. Peace is not circumstantial. That's why it says in scripture that that's the call of Jesus, is to be peacemakers, not peacekeepers. See, people love peacekeepers. Just make sure everybody's okay. Are you okay? You all right? You okay? The world loves peacekeepers. It doesn't say blessed are the peacekeepers. It says blessed are the peacemakers. People who carry peace wherever they go, regardless of the circumstances, not to make everybody feel good, but to let them know a man has entered the building and everything will be all right, even if nothing is all right. That's peace. We're not going after comfort. We're going after peace. I want a peace so deep in my bones that when I walk into a room, everybody knows it's going to be okay, even if it's not okay. even if it's not okay. All right, what's the practicals? Here's what we're walking away with. What do I want you to do this week? I got a few of them. Ready? For the next 7 days, I want you to choose one hard thing to do every day. One hard thing to do every day. Now, if you make this grandiose and huge, you're not going to do it. Okay. Do not make this grandiose and huge. Just choose one small thing. If you don't work out at all right now, okay, so here's the challenge. You don't work out at all. Every one of you can do a handful of sit-ups and a handful of push-ups. Okay. Just do it. Like, don't make this like, you know what I'm saying? Like, pick a number. Pick a number that's beyond what you think you can do. If you think you can do 10, pick 15. If you think you can do 25, then choose 30 or 40 and do it and have it be hard. If there's a conversation you're avoiding because you don't want to hear what's going to happen on the other side, have the conversation, make the phone call, take the risk, choose the day of the week. And here's the way I would do it if I were you guys, don't do it haphazardly. Sit down tonight, take a few minutes or tomorrow morning and write down the things you're going to choose. What are the things, and write them down, one per day, and then execute every single day. Okay? Like, put them on the calendar. Put them, okay, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. This is what I'm going to do. Okay? So that's number 1. Every day, do something hard. And again, that could be as simple as a cold shower as well, guys. Just FYI. Like, in the morning, you get up, you just put it on freezing cold, and you just get under there for 60 seconds. Okay? Something like that, super hard. All right. All of those things. Some of you, I wrote this down too, so I'm just guessing it's somebody. Somebody's been saying they've been, and it may not even be somebody on right now, but I do know somebody who's going to watch this is saying they've been telling themselves they're going to get up early for like weeks, months, or maybe years, and you haven't got your butt up early yet. And it's time to just set the alarm and then get out of bed when you hear the alarm. No pushing snooze. If you set the alarm, you get out of bed. Whoever's avoiding their alarm, like, I just want you to know, like, you are lying to yourself. That is you are a liar to yourself. If you set an alarm and you don't get out of bed, you are a liar to yourself. You are breaking a contract with yourself that you set up the night before. The moment you said, I'm going to get up at this time, you set an alarm, and then you don't get out of bed at that time, you are losing trust with yourself. And to build trust with yourself in a very simple way, you set the alarm, you get your ass out of bed the moment the alarm goes off. You don't even question. Do it for the next 7 days and see what happens. Okay? Next 7 days, see what happens. All right. Change your mindset path. Change your mindset on pain. All right? I want you to stop seeing difficulty as a barrier. See it as a doorway, which means this. I want you to just have in your journal or have in your phone the times during the day you experienced pain, when you would say that was painful. Just write it down. You know how sometimes we keep a gratefulness journal? Some of you guys keep a gratefulness journal. I have like a 1-line journal. I want you every day, maybe you do it the day after, maybe you do it during the day. I want you to simply write down where was pain today. Where was the pain? And then I want you to consider it differently. What was that pain inviting you into? And did you receive it or did you avoid it? Okay? Process the pain. Okay? Practically process the pain. And then the third thing is this. I want you to set a challenge for this week. I want you to pick one thing that you've been avoiding because it's uncomfortable, and I want you to do it this week. Okay? So yes, the little daily, hey, I'm going to choose to do something hard every single day. I'm going to put on the cold shower. I'm going to do that. But one thing you know you've been avoiding, and I want you to take care of it. And I'm going to tell you straight up, I already wrote it down. I'm like, these stupid taxes, they just bug the crap out of me and make me want to lose my mind. And I just avoid them. And I'm like, and I usually push it off to the very end. And I'm like, looking at it this week, I'm like, no, if I told you guys, this is an area I want to grow. This is an area I'm like, dude, I avoid this because I don't like the way it makes me feel. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it this week. I'm just going to get on it. I'm going to get it done. And I will let you know in the man cave when I get to it. So I'm like, just so some accountability for all of us. Okay. So with that in mind, those are the 3 things. One hard thing every day. Okay. Change your mindset on pain by recording it, processing it. Did I avoid it? Did I engage with it? What was it showing me? What was it inviting me into? And then 3, what is one of those things that you've been avoiding because it was going to make you uncomfortable and you're going to engage with it in the next 7 days? Okay. You've been putting it off long enough. What is it? All right. Now, let's take any of your questions. I want you to take them to the man cave and I want us to do the blessing. So let's do the blessing together. Everybody turn off your everybody turn off your mutes, and let's dive into it. Okay? All right. I am the evidence.
I am the evidence
Of the strength of my ancestors.
of the strength of my
ancestors.
There are many things.
There are many things
Within my lineage.
within my
My
lineage
lineage
That attempted to obliterate.
that attempted to obliterate
All forms of goodness.
all forms of
the
goodness.
goodness.
But I
But I
am the living proof.
Living proof
That it did not work.
That it did
that it did not work.
All right. I'll see you guys in the man cave. Let's get this thing going. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah.
Good night.